What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, another episode on the XV750 Cafe Racer style build. In the last one, we got this rear subframe, seat subframe all welded up and looking mega. Still obviously needs welding up and needs tidying up, but with my eye, I'm not really supposed to be welding. So if we're doing any welding, it's tacking, and I'm taping my eye up so that I can't see out of it and I'm not going to damage it. But in this one, we're going to make a start at looking at replacing these rearset brackets. Something that we're going to be doing on this then is putting new rear sets on. Now, I've seen a few builds where people have just mounted them to this original bracket and they look okay. It doesn't look too bad, but having sat on the bike, I feel I want to move them forward, not by a lot, but I think it's probably 50 odd mil, so a couple of inches. And also, they're not the nicest looking brackets. Yeah, I want to try and give this bike that last little 5% of thought to just make it stand out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is we're going to remove these and we're actually going to draw and make some new rear set brackets from scratch and have them lasered out of some steel, get some bar to space them out, get them in the correct place and get them sitting where we want to. Now I've already sat on the bike and sort of roughly worked out where I want them to go. So what we need to do now is plot these points on the computer. So what I'm going to do that in is a CAD software. Now I've already drawn a few different variations of this. Basically started off taking a picture of the back of it, drawing around it to give me a bit of a base idea. That didn't really work very well. These two I have actually already drawn and I've cut out of plywood to offer on and see how they fit, and they didn't fit the best, so we've given up with that idea. And what we're going to now, this option here, is we're plotting it from scratch. So I've started with a baseline, we're offsetting up to find all the points and move things about. So let's get this bracket and these points plotted on that computer so we can get everything hopefully in the same place. There we have the brackets drawn on the computer, which I then transferred over onto pieces of paper. I then stuck those onto a piece of steel, used the grinder and various other tools to cut out a set of 2mm steel rear set brackets, just to see what the foot peg position was like at the rear. I did make them out of wood and they obviously instantly collapsed as soon as I put my foot on them, so I just knocked them up quickly out of some steel. I think they look decent for what they are. I'm not sure, I might add a little curve to this to emulate the seat hoop, but I've took some pictures of the side of the bike. I'm going to sit and look at it for a few days, but they're a hell of a lot better than what were there before. So what we're going to do here, you've obviously got a bit of a gap here, so we're going to get these where we want them, and then we'll order some 10mm, because these are M10 bolts, we'll order some 10mm internal diameter steel tube, and we'll make some spacers up, tack them to the back of these rear sets brackets, so we've got a nice solid base for the rear sets to go. So that is another little thing sort of done to a point. There's a few bits I've got to sort out. I need to play with the design a little bit, but we'll get them cut out of 5mm steel. I think I'll be pretty happy with them. The next thing we need to look at is mounting this headlight on here. So it's a pretty standard headlight bucket. You've got a bolt either side to mount it, and what I've done is I've gone online and bought a headlight bracket, which I'll put a picture in now of the one that I've bought, which comes with 2 of these and all sorts of front back bracketry, but it's a bit big. The headlight's going to stick out a little bit too far. I want to try and get the headlight as far back as I can, just to bring those lines in and make it look a little bit nicer, not just make it look like an afterthought. So what we're going to do is we're going to design our own bracket up here to support the headlight. Now my thinking with these brackets is, if you can see here, you've got this flat here, so I'm going to design a bracket that touches up to this back edge, will fix on here, and will hopefully that will stop it from moving. So we'll jump back on the computer, get all this area drawn up and get some brackets designed. So we've drawn the side profile of the headlight with the mounting area and this little flat bit. We've drawn these little brackets that are going to be holding them onto the forks. Here we've drawn a plan and we've drawn a side view as well. And we've drawn the fork itself with all of its indents and where it changes sizes and things. And I've just used this point and this point as a reference to find the angle that these forks are sitting at. So I've got a level here, which is level. And then I've drawn it with these markings on because at this point here, where you can see this slight change in colour, and at this point here, that point there is 54mm, and then it changes. So I've used that point there across as a measurement, and that point there across as a measurement to find that angle, which is now, these forks on this computer screen are sitting at the same angle as these. So we can get that headlight sitting straight and get it all sort of mocked up, held in place, roughly worked out, and then we can mock it up on here and draw a nice bracket for it. Or at least that's the idea here. So yeah, I'm not sure how exciting this is going to be as a video of me watching me draw things on a computer, but we'll carry on and hopefully we'll have a nice little bracket design by the end of it. So I think that looks pretty good there. We brought it back quite tight. I don't want to go too mad with it, but I didn't want it out here. So I think bringing it back to there, in line with that, looks pretty nice. So I've marked that point. We've drawn, the forks are now at the correct angle. We've got the bracket mounted on in the same place that it is on the bike. And we've now put the headlight in now. Obviously we want the headlight pretty much straight, but there's going to be a little bit of play within this bracket, I think. So now from there, we're going to be able to start drawing a bracket. And there we go, right, I'm not 100% sure if this is actually going to work or be used, but there's the bracket we've drawn. And here's my thinking. So we've got this line on this bracket, you've got this bit here, this line, and that fixing. That's essentially that part there. So this will stop it twisting on the bottom. There's your fixing hole. That obviously stops it twisting, comes up here, and the bracket comes, delete that. And then the bracket comes up here, round this piece, and then we've done this clearance here, so you can still adjust the headlight and get the headlight sitting correct. So, I think it's hardly the nicest looking thing I've ever drawn, but if it's going to be functional and get the headlight back where we want it to be sitting, I will be pretty happy, I think. Hopefully it'll work with just one fixing point as well, but time will tell and we shall see. So, now I've drawn that, we need to print them out one to one, put them into some steel, cut them out and try them on. And there is the headlight mounted to the bike. Now, I've had to make a slight change because these brackets didn't quite work the way that I explained and thought they would do. So I wanted this step piece here to be on the inside so that this back edge would rest on there. But you can't get the head on, which I should have spotted because there's not a lot of room there. So I had to take all the top off and turn these brackets around, which isn't a major problem. The only thing I'm going to do now, we've obviously got quite a bit more distance here, so I'm going to beef the back of this up, get rid of this curve. But for now, we've got the 2 points that we know. We've got this sort of angle. I've got enough on the drawing to be able to take this home, measure here and add on, and be happy that what we've done is going to work. But that headlight transforms it yet again into looking hell of a lot cooler. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Like I say, we'll amend these brackets and get them right. Obviously I've cut them by hand so there's no rounds on the corners and things. I will be getting them lasered out something a little bit nicer. Rear sets I've already shown you there on. I've been having a bit of a play trying to get the back brake working. I think I've sussed an idea out, so I've got to order some stuff for that. And then this side, I mean, this is all very, very flexible or whatever, but difficult trying to do it one-handed. But yeah, we've got it going into and out of gears in a fashion. I've got to sort all this out. Obviously, I've literally just mocked things up to see if things are going to work. And here we are a few days later. I've been over to see my mate Jason at Smith & Johnson, who have got an absolutely awesome bit of kit in a plasma cutter. So I obviously CAD and drew these up, and they've plasma cut them out for me. Now we have put this slight kink in, which I think looks better. I've got the original one, the first version we did as well, but I've just chucked these ones on for now. So yeah, they're looking pretty funky, I think. I quite like the look of them. We've got selecting gears as well, nice and sturdy, which is brilliant. Obviously we've got to get new bolts and sorts out. This is literally just mackled together to make sure it works. And then this side the same as well, so we've got that one mounted on there as well. Now still got to work out how we're going to get this rear brake working. I've had a bit of a play, but that's a problem to sort out for another episode. So let's see what my feet in position looks like on the bike. I think it's pretty cool, pretty nice. I've got quite a big seat, so you can pretty much sit wherever you want. But yeah, not a bad little position, I don't think. Be nice to go and throw it around some roads, hopefully, eventually. So as well as the rear sets, I've also had these headlight brackets, when I redesigned them, had them cut out, and that is nice and sturdy. So I'm super happy with the way that it's all looking so far. Next thing that we need to start looking at is trying to get all the electrics fitted, try and work out what we are doing, because I genuinely haven't got a clue. All I'm doing at the minute is watching videos on the M unit and on wiring it into an older bike. I'm thinking if we take it circuit by circuit, eventually we'll get there and we'll get this bike running again. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one, guys. Until next time, enjoy.